Barkha, welcome to the podcast. This is episode 4 of Soul Story with Hamza. I'm so happy to have you. As I said earlier, this was like one episode that I kind of manifested because I was talking about shamanism with a lot of people before, and I was like, I want to know more about it. And then suddenly you came into my life in the form of a client, and then now my host, my guest. So, yeah, it's been quite a journey, and it's been so quick how we've kind of turned this around and got you. So, thank you for gracing us, this place, this podcast with your energy. Yeah.
Thank you.
The idea with today's episode, I wanted to be like a masterclass, if I may say, on shamanism and really talk about the concepts, what it truly is, some misconceptions that we can break and really understand it deeper so that people who are interested in pursuing this journey or path in their life, they can kind of, come and work with us through it. To start with, maybe you can just give a short introduction about yourself in a couple of words and we can set tone then for the podcast.
Great. Thank you so much for inviting me in the first place. I'm Barkha Punjabi and I'm a shamanic practitioner. My journey, professional journey, started with design, and then I was a part of the education industry.
Okay.
After that, I started my own business in recruitment, and then I found healing. So I always say this, that for some of us, change is the only thing that's constant, and that keeps us stable. So I happen to be one of them. And about shamanism, when I say I practice shamanism, I'm a shamanic practitioner, and I use this modality to help heal people, to enable them to reconnect with their true self, and choose to live life with a lot of joy, without carrying the baggage of the past.
Wow, very well put. Okay, so if you had to explain shamanism in the most, like, dumb it down completely, explain it to someone, what would you say and how would you like kind of put it?
So basically, shamanism is about connecting with the energy of nature.
Okay.
Okay. A shamanic practitioner works with elements of nature, which could mean fire, which could mean water, which could mean space. And also, we connect with our power animals, our spirit animals, to gain guidance, to help us in enabling other people to heal themselves, to break patterns, to overcome trauma. So, ideally, it is about tapping onto that consciousness and working with that.
Okay, lovely. If you had to talk about your initiation into it, like when it started, what was that like? What was the deeper reason? And I know possibly this can be a very vulnerable share for you, but I would also say that it's a safe space and it's also gonna be, I would say, a point or an opportunity for other people who are going through that to understand maybe that this is also a calling to them. So if you could share more about like why did it happen for you?
So, I started, my journey actually started around 8 years ago.
Okay.
That was the time when I lost my father, and my first go to space was therapy, because I was totally not anchored. I didn't know how to handle it. I didn't know the way forward. So I went for therapy, and then somehow I found my way into healing.
Okay.
And I think, as all of us start our trajectory, it was Reiki, and then it was pranic healing, and then it was EFT,
Yeah.
and then access consciousness happened. And then so I also struggled with migraine. It was one of those days I had a migraine attack, and I was like, okay, let me just go sit with my plants. And I was sitting there and, talking to my plants and trying to get some relief from that, when this post came my way, and it said, learn shamanism. And it was about, talk to plants, talk to animals. And I was like, this couldn't be coincidental. I'm sure
Yeah.
this is the universe's way of saying, come on, go for it. And honestly, I didn't know what shamanism was all about. I had no clue.
idea.
So I just picked up the phone, I spoke to my teacher, and she said, okay, we are starting in 2 weeks, and the rest is history.
Wow. And what was the path of like meeting your guru or your teacher? Like, how did that happen?
It was online. It was an online course that I did, and I've met her a couple of times after that, because as in shamanism, there are certain practices that we do, like winter solstice and summer solstice. So I've attended the winter solstice, where a lot of shamanic practitioners come together, and you celebrate this day, and it's actually not the day, it's the evening. You start in the evening, and you are working towards it till the next morning. So it's a gathering where all of us come together, we manifest, we do journeys and things like that.
Crazy. There's this thing that, so I was trying to understand more researching because my perspective, and also I'm going to talk about it in the future of the podcast, is that most of the people I've met only relate shamanism to plant medicine and stuff like that. And that got me thinking about why the reason why I think South America is so popularized is because of the plant medicine part, but there are roots of shamanism like in so many other places,
Oh,
right?
yes. Shamanism is one of the oldest healing
Okay.
modalities.
Okay.
In fact, it goes back to centuries.
Hmm.
And it's there across the world.
Yeah.
Every part of the world practices shamanism.
Mm-hmm.
The practices could be a little different, the rituals could be a little different, but the core is the same.
Okay.
So ideally, a shamanic practitioner or a shaman would take a journey. A journey
Correct.
is where you get into trance or altered consciousness using the drum, using the rattle. In some parts, they use plant medicine, but most of us just stick to the drums. And when you get into this altered consciousness, you kind of connect with the other realms. So, shamanic practitioner could go into the lower world, could go into the middle world, or could go into the upper world. And then you start, so you would set an intention and you would say that, okay, I'd like to meet my, say, for example, I'd like to meet my power animal and I'd like to have a message. So, you get into a trance with the drum beat, you, ask for them to show up, they show up, and you have this conversation which is actually very real. It's not imaginative. And you are very surprised with the kind of answers that show up. You're very surprised with the kind of guidance that you receive over there.
Okay, got it, got it. That's a deep insight. Didn't know much about that, so that's the first. Do you know more about like maybe the role? So I was also reading about like the role that like the shaman plays in people's lives. Like for example, it's very similar to a leader, right, of the pack. Is that true?
Yes, it is true. Now, so there is a little differentiation.
Okay.
When you say shaman, it is some shamans are born into the family. It's a legacy that
Okay.
they've inherited, and some of them the title is bestowed on them.
Okay.
Okay, a shaman is someone who's the leader in terms of to support the community, to help them heal, to seek guidance.
Okay.
Most of us call ourselves shamanic practitioners.
Practitioners. Okay.
Because when you call yourself or you say that you're a shaman, you actually live life very differently. So a shamanic practitioner is someone who practices the modality.
Okay. Okay.
And so I always say that I am a shamanic practitioner.
Yeah, got it. Oh, got it. Got it. Okay, great. I want to shift the conversation more towards some of the tools and things that you spoke about before, and we've also been talking about. So, like spirit guides or like soul retrieval. So, I want to start with the topic of spirit guides and power animals. If you can explain what it is and how is it used, like by you to help people and stuff like that.
So each one of us is born with a ally. Now this could be a power animal, it could be a plant. Okay.
Okay.
And the first step when you choose to get into shamanism is to connect with your power animal.
Okay.
The reason that you connect with a power animal is because this power animal is your best friend who holds space for you, has no judgment, and is forever there to guide you and has your back.
Okay.
Okay, so when you take a journey, you start with walking with your power animal.
Okay.
So most of us start with taking a journey in the lower world. And when you take a journey in the lower world, you walk with your power animal and you ask questions and you get information. Now, there are ways to find out, the practices may differ a little. Somebody may feel that, okay, I have, like when I started, my power animal was a tiger.
Okay.
Okay, so the tiger stands for courage, the tiger stands for solitude, and those were the days when I really found a lot of pleasure in just being by myself. I did
Okay.
not like to talk to people, and when I got into this space and I realized that this is exactly what I needed at that point of time. The power animal comes to you to show you what you are at that point of time, what characteristics do you need to imbibe to move forward in life. So that's a little bit about power animal. Again, we have plants. We may have a certain affinity to a certain plant, and its properties or medicinal properties may be something that I may require at that point of time
Okay,
to
got
heal.
it.
So those are the connections. It's very different for every individual.
Okay. And spirit guide is something.
Spirit guides change. They change as per what you are working with. So say for example, if I am so you take journeys, right? So if I'm wanting to build on teamwork, I'd like to call upon the spirit of the bee.
Okay.
And I'd say, okay, because honeybees, okay,
Mm-hmm,
they work in
mm-hmm.
a team. So
Yeah.
I'd like to call upon the spirit of the bee and say that, okay, can you please come and, show me the way forward, and how do I make teamwork happen for me? Or for example, I want to communicate better. I'd call upon the spirit of the parrot and say, I need to communicate better. So can you help me do that? Or if
Wow.
I'm looking at presence, I would say that, I'd call upon the spirit of the lion and I'd say, can you please help me be more present?
Mm.
So you call upon these animals, these spirit animals, and ask them for guidance, or you ask them to help you with one particular, I wouldn't call challenge, but any particular theme that you'd like to work
Okay.
on in your life.
Okay. And if we had to like make someone visualize of what is this journey of actually finding it, because I believe like when you talk to people about like power animals and things like that, the first question is, but hota kaise, right? So what is this journey like to actually find out? Like what would you do? Let's say I come to you and tell you that, hey, I want to figure what this is for me. Ideally what would you do?
So I would walk you through, I would hold space for you. So first of all, when you're finding your power animal, you would need a certified practitioner to help you. Okay. So I would say, okay, get comfortable. We'd wear a blindfold because that just helps us to connect. I would play the drum, and I would also do a guided meditation where I'd say, okay,
Okay.
you're getting into. So imagine that you're walking into a tree, you're going down. Now you're in the below the surface of the earth, and walk and see who shows up, which is the animal that shows up. And it could be anybody. I would go into maybe the journey thinking that, oh, a tiger should show up, but maybe it's actually a tortoise. And you're like, I was hoping for a tiger.
Got it.
Okay, so then you would ask a particular question, and then you would get an affirmative saying that, oh, this is the one, and that is how you discover your power animal.
Wow. So this is completely unrelated, maybe very dumb of me to ask, but when like in the Chinese calendar, when they put an animal to the year, is that related to this? In
In
any
my
way?
case, it was. So I don't know about others, but yes,
Yeah.
I am. I belong to the tiger, and my
Wow.
power animal was the tiger. But that was the funny part. When I took when I started this class and I went for a journey, I kept thinking that I may find an elephant. I may find an elephant. And when a tiger came up, I was like, how's a tiger showing up? Whereas in life, I've always been very, I've spoken about the tiger, the songs, and the tiger animal, the Chinese calendar, but it didn't strike me at that point of time because I
Yeah.
somehow kept thinking, Ganesh ji and Ganpati and elephant. I was on that tangent.
Got
So,
it.
yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I think 98 when I have the tiger year, if I'm not wrong. Anyways, so yeah. Okay, wow. Let's move on to talk a little bit about you as shamanic healer yourself, practitioner yourself. What has it been like for you? Want you to just talk about journeys and things that have happened already for your clients and how it's been for them. What have they seen? Maybe you can start by talking about like a client who's experienced some deep transformation and how that's kind of manifested in his life, if you can, or her life.
Yeah. So this was very interesting. This is about maybe a 35, 40-year-old gentleman who would come to me, and he came very intelligent, well qualified, but he came with a challenge that he couldn't hold on to a job. Every time he took up an assignment, something or the other showed up, and initially the pattern was that he would just get into some trouble, and then he was asked to leave. And then he reached a stage where every time he took up a new assignment and there was something that wasn't working out, he would just leave. Okay, he would transfer. If you looked at his CV, he wouldn't go beyond 1.5 year, because that was the time that something had to show up, and he was like, okay, let's bounce. And there was this constant fear that I'm not good enough, constant fear that it's not working out, and I get fired, I have this problem. So when we took a journey, initially it was like, there were a lot of blocks, there were a lot of patterns that I could see, but there is only that much that I can do as a practitioner, because we need the other person to open up and say and be willing to look at it, right? So that happened, and we realized that as a child, when he was growing up, there were a lot of times when he was told he was not good enough. There were a lot of times where he was bullied. There were a lot of times where even if he got maybe a 70% or something, his parents would look and say that, well, what have you done? Now that was the reason that he self-sabotaged. Every time he got an opportunity, he ensured that he walked out of it or got fired. when we worked on that and we kind of healed those parts, he reached a stage where he had an assignment and there was a problem. And his first instance was to run. And then we did a session. But he still went ahead and put his papers. But the thing that had changed is the organization called him back and said, we want you on the board. Okay. What would it take for us to keep you? That was a game changer for him.
Wow. That's so amazing. I feel like people don't know what they're getting into, and just sometimes it just can change your life completely. I think that happened for me also with like spirituality, and movement is a very big part of my life, and the way it changes things and the way I use it to kind of relieve stuff that I'm holding onto is like superb. So that's something I would recommend, like start on the journey someday. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, have you seen something like super wild, or like you feel like, hey, I didn't expect this in a journey? What has that been like? Just for like people to know what they can kind of get into.
Yeah. This one was a bit of a googly event for me, if I can use that word. So, again, I was working with somebody in their mid-40s, a gentleman who was petrified of losing everything.
Okay.
Comes from a decent, wealthy family, has a stable job, has a stable income, but forever fearing that things are going to be taken away. We did a few journeys, and I wasn't going around. I couldn't get around much because, he didn't really have trauma while he was growing up as such. Nothing was showing up. So we were like, okay. And then one of these journeys when we were doing, we realized that there is an ancestral pattern that he carries. Now, his ancestors were his grandparents, I think, were asked to leave their land. This was during partition.
Okay.
And come. They fled. Now, and then the parents worked hard and, they made it big. And then the third generation, they're fine. But this fear of losing everything is actually just passed on. And this person, although has never faced anything like that, but can sense that fear all the time. So we then had to get into ancestral healing, where we kind of paid a lot of respect. We expressed gratitude, and we healed, somebody in the lineage. And then he kind of started feeling more relaxed around the wealth that he had. He was more comfortable to own up what he was having, and he could actually sleep without fear.
Wow. Something that I always observe about you, and I think we talk about this on our calls also, like you have a way of getting people comfortable to even set, right? Talk, open up. When someone's going through something like this that you just mentioned, what is like, how do you like set them up for this? Like the minute, maybe even if you mention it to them, they'll be like, hey, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to open up about this, right? What do you use? What are the tools you use to kind of help people just let loose?
What really happens is when they come to me, I always tell them we are not really fixing anything. Okay. So that's been my mantra. My mantra has always been that you're here to remember who you are. You're not here to gain anything. You're here to leave behind whatever doesn't serve you. So when I'm not focusing on what you're gaining and I'm focusing on what you're letting go, it's much more easier, because then it helps the other person look within and say that, oh yeah, this is the pattern that I have. And also that there is no judgment, because I've been through a lot of challenges myself.
Yeah.
It took me a lot of effort. So I understand when that other person can't look at it and say, Barkha, I can't do it.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, I know. I hear you. And that's exactly how I felt, that I can't do it. But it gets better. So it's okay. And one of the most important things in healing, which I think everybody must remember, is you have to be very kind to yourself. Kindness is very, very crucial.
Wow. Lovely. Okay. I want to go back to the last segment where we wanted to talk about like soul retrieval. So I want you to maybe break that down. What is it exactly? The first time you said it, I was a little confused. Hota kya isme, right? So maybe break it down. Why do we need to do it also from the beginning? And then agar we need to go on that journey, what is it like?
So what exactly is a soul retrieval?
Yeah.
Ideally, a soul retrieval is power loss. Now, whenever we go through some kind of trauma, that trauma could be when I was maybe 5, or I was 15, or I was 25, or even 35. A part of my soul leaves my body. It detaches because it just can't handle the pain. And when that happens, it detaches and it goes away. and you start feeling this power loss. You start feeling that you're not whole. What a soul retrieval is, where a shamanic practitioner would take a journey and would retrieve those lost pieces of your soul, heal them, and integrate back into your body so that you start feeling more complete. Now, people often ask that what kind of trauma? It could be as simple as when you were 5 or 7 and you had a younger brother, you were playing with a toy, and your mom comes and says, "Can you just hand it over because he's crying?" Now, for you, that was also a trauma. That, oh my God, I had to hand over my toy to my sibling and I'm unhappy about it. And that's enough to create a little bit of a soul loss.
Wow. Yeah?
Yeah.
So deep.
A baby crying and mom is busy. She has taken a little more time to attend to the baby, enough to create a soul loss.
Okay. Okay. And is this also true? I don't know. I saw it in a reel, or I was reading somewhere that the younger you are, and something that you go through, something traumatic, those are the things that manifest more and more.
That's inner child. That's one of
Inner
the key
child.
things that I work on.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And shamanism also works a lot on that. Inner child primarily because, you'll have a 35-year-old sitting in front of you saying that I'm in a job and when my boss says something, I am unable to say no. No, you are 35 years old. How are you not being able to say no to your boss? Think about it yourself. It's
Yeah.
because it's not you. It's your younger version who at 8, 9, 15 was not allowed, was asked, was expected to suppress, was expected to understand. And that child actually is in the driving seat.
Okay. Got it.
And that child is the one, because obviously an 8-year-old, if he's been bullied or if he's been told that, no, you can't do that, he gets it and he's like, okay. And he thinks that's the boundary. I'm not going to go beyond that. And when that 8-year-old is in your driving seat and saying that, oh, I can't do it, I can't say no. I can't say no. I can't say no. I can't come, to a friend's party. I can't say no that I can't stay back late for work. Whereas you can. You very much can.
Got it.
So what inner child healing again does is you go back to that part of your childhood. You heal that part. You reparent that part. And then you integrate it again and things start changing. The energy shifts and you can see that change.
One last question that I have about this before we kind of move on is that how does someone get awareness about this? Okay, this is something I see around me also. For myself also, it's a big deal. That's what I'm asking. If I'm seeing something in my life right now, how do I know this is inner child related, and how do I know like this is something I need to work upon? If there's a particular way to answer this question, of course.
It's a little difficult, Hamza, to look at the surface and say that this might be inner child or this might be, because there are just patterns that we have.
Correct.
Patterns that we've inherited, patterns that we've carried from previous lifetimes. So unless and until we don't, you don't have someone working with you, or you kind of, have a shamanic practitioner take a journey, it's a little difficult to point out and say that, oh, this is it. Right? Because again, a shamanic practitioner is actually working with the guidance of the power animal. So if I'm just going to look at somebody and say, oh, that's my spiritual ego saying that, oh, you have an inner child problem. It's the guidance of the power animal that enables me to look at it and say that, yeah. Because otherwise, it's my mind.
I want to ask you, being a shamanic practitioner, a healer, is it something that you're kind of born with, or can you acquire it?
That's a tough one. So I think shamanism finds you.
Okay.
At least that's what I've understood. Like I mentioned earlier, that some families, there are shamans, and you're born into a family, and then that's a legacy that you inherit.
Right.
But for other shamanic practitioners, I think it's, if you're not from the family, it just finds you in some manner. It just comes to you, and you may have never thought of it. Like I didn't even know that shamanism existed at one point of time. But it's just been there. So I have this very funny way of looking back at things, and I have a overly analytical mind. So when initially I would question that, why shamanism? Like, how shamanism and me? Where does it even make sense?
Correct.
And then I go back to this time when I think I was in college and I read this book called Illusions by Richard Bach.
Okay.
Okay. And this guy talks about life being an illusion and, all the power lying within you. You can always change, your reality. You create your reality. And after I discovered shamanism and what my guides would tell me, it actually aligns very much with what he says. So then I trace back and I say that, yeah, maybe I always was on that path. Because when I read Illusions when I was 17 or 18, I didn't understand. I only knew that there was something that shifted, but I just didn't understand. I've gone back to the book a couple of times, and each time it's landed differently. But
Okay.
now I can look back and actually, when I look back in hindsight, I can join the dots and say, oh, it's been there. I just had to find the right modality, or the right modality had to find me, which I felt that I needed to share with the world.
Okay. Wow. I have this thing, and I was actually talking to Sue about it in reference. So, if you feel connected, let's say with nature or animals, or like you love hugging a tree, for example, then is that a sure shot indication that okay, maybe it's the path for me? Should I do it, or how do you? So this goes deeper. I'll tell you why. Because for me, I've always wanted to learn a modality, really ace it, go with it, and choose it. And I don't think life works like okay, you choose it, but more like okay, I want to operate with that mainly. And I've always been confused with two or three things in which kind of plant medicine as being an important part of it, but mainly shamanism is always there because of how I love nature, how I love to spend time. So, what is the like? Where does the decision making come in there that okay, this is the path I should actually take?
If you enjoy doing journeys, if you like having these conversations, because I enjoy conversations.
Yeah,
So when
yeah,
I found a
exactly.
power animal with whom I could just converse, and there was no judgment and there was no pressure, or things were not expected, I really had a lot of fun. So when I actually learned shamanism and I started doing journeys, I would journey every day of the week, like
Okay.
twice in a day sometimes, because it was just so comforting, that space that was being held,
Yeah.
and for me to build that bond. And there was so much that my power animal would tell me, so many things that they would say that when there was a time when I wanted to talk about it, that now I've started this as a profession and I can actually help people choose different. I wasn't open. I was petrified about
Yeah.
um,
Being out there.
being out there. And my power animal would keep telling me, show up, just show up, just show up. And I'd be like, but I can't do it. I can't. There were so many I can'ts in my head. So, brick by brick, you kind of work around that. So if you feel that, coming back to your question, if you
Yeah.
feel that taking a journey is something that gives you comfort, if you can relate to it, then by all means use it, because it gives you awareness, it gives you guidance, it helps you reconnect with your truer self.
Yeah, so actually, this is going back to the first experience ever of like doing a hape ceremony in Bali with a friend of mine who has been into like the space. He comes also from South America, has had people, ancestors who've been doing it. So from everything to playing the instruments to actually taking you on a very good journey, he's really good at it. And he does a lot of masculine work operating from that end, because he explained to me how hape was like something people used to do before going to war or in when the tribes, right? And the first time I did it, it made me like extremely uneasy. But after those couple seconds of like when you breathe into it and actually sit back, you're like, oof, what just hit me, right? And then you're operating some other level. And he was sitting right opposite and he's like, how are you feeling, brother? And I was like, I feel like I'm on top of this world. Like I have control over everything in this moment, right? And then I was like, okay, maybe there's something deeper. So that got me. Obviously, I haven't explored it more, gone ahead, but there's always like this little voice, maybe it is my spirit animal in a way. But yeah. So, wow. Okay, that was just a little share. But now going back to the more practical things of it, of what people can use in their day to day life. So, I just want to ask you if people are going through guilt, anxiety, fear, heartbreak, I don't know what not, right? We go through so many things. What are certain principles or practices that they can use from this space to really work with themselves and feel better?
So a couple of things that one could do is, they're the basics to start with. You go out into the nature, you put a hand on the tree. Do this for a week. Just go, pick a tree that you like, put your palm on it, and just say, is there a message that you have for me? Initially, you may think, I mean,
Yeah.
you may feel foolish. B, You may not get any responses, but when you start getting present, you'll realize that there's something that the tree is conveying to you. Okay. Now, that something could be in the form of a message, it could be an awareness, it could be an image, or it could just be a sound. It differs, right? It differs for each one of us how we perceive the messages that are coming to us.
Right.
So, basis that you start. You start by going out in the sunlight early in the morning, just being there. So, when you start acknowledging the presence of nature, nature starts communicating with you.
Beautiful.
Because most of us don't. I mean, how many of us actually go out and look at the sun? Of course, I've seen my mom, offering water to the sun for so many years, or the tulsi plant.
Correct.
But otherwise, most of us we take it for granted कि मतलब sunlight तो होगी, रात को चांद तो निकलेगा ही.
Yeah.
You don't go looking for it कि आ जाए कि नहीं आया, right?
Got it. And counter to this, what do you think are some misconceptions that the common man has?
Oh, far too many. The first being that it's witchcraft.
Yeah.
Or it's black magic. It's not. It's not. And it's scary to walk. So I have people who come to me and they say that, shamanism, you have to walk with power animals. I'm very scared of animals. I mean, they're not, those wild animals are not there out to get you. So that, and basically that you have to have a lot of, intuition. Your intuition has to be very strong. Otherwise, you can't do this. I think you just have to start. If it's calling you out, just start. And you'll know where it takes you. Everybody's journey is very different. A lot of, when I learned shamanism, we were so many of us in the group, in the batch who were learning together. And each one of us, the trajectory has been very different. Not everybody decided to, become a shamanic practitioner or a shamanic facilitator for that matter. People just use it for themselves and it's given them the benefit that they were looking for.
Okay. Wow. Well, actually, this episode went pretty fast. I think we were very involved in the questions and answers. But okay, some of the last ones that are there. This is a big one for me because I've had people around me who are doing still ayahuasca. I've been in like so many ceremonies sitting with it, right? And therefore the only thing I always heard was ayahuasca plant medicine. And it's sad to say that I also have heard about stories of people doing it here in India now in a very non-journey way, rather become recreation. It burns my heart to see that because we also have like so many customs in our Indian tradition, right? And someone else had to just go and do it in like a recreational way would really hurt us. So when it comes to that, how do you grow in this space while still being honest and truthful to these indigenous roots, right? From where it's come. Like how do you maintain the authenticity of it?
So like I don't serve it or drink it myself, but I use the plant essence. So I have journeyed with the spirit of the plant.
Okay.
And that has helped me. And I can very confidently say that it's been different from the other journeys that I have taken because it's the spirit of the plant. When it comes to honoring the indigenous tribes, one of the most important things is, don't just use their rituals. At least I don't do that. I just don't copy their rituals and use it in my practices. I wait for my guides to show up and say that, okay, this is what you could do. And be true to your work. I think that's very crucial.
Yeah.
So you just don't copy a ritual and make it yours or just do it because it's trending somewhere else.
Got it. Yeah.
And all of these plant medicines are very powerful. They actually can, take you to another level. Like you yourself said, what you experienced was, oh my God, I can rule the world. Right?
Yeah.
So that's the true power that they give you. But if you're going to, if people are going to end up using it for fun and just to get a kick out of it, then it loses its essence.
True. Very true. Also at the same time, like, do you believe, like I've seen a lot of people tell me this and also a lot of experienced people that the medicine from where it comes, obviously consuming it and doing ceremonies there itself, like for example in a Costa Rica or a Peru or in the Amazon, do you think it's more powerful there than bringing it to another country and doing a ceremony? Do you think that exists?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's a lot depends on the facilitator who's holding space.
Okay.
Because their energies matter a lot. So what happens is, as a shamanic practitioner, when we work with clients or with participants or with people who come to us, we are also working on ourselves. So
Yeah,
there is that
of course.
energy changes.
That's a
So
big one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the more work that I've done on myself or a shamanic practitioner would do on themselves, the better, the energy shift happens because
Ah,
the vessel changes, right?
got it. Got it. Understood. Understood. Wow. Okay, great. Actually, that's like most of the question that I had. I want to just keep it open to conversation now and see what comes up for us before we kind of end it. Um, do you want to pull the card now? Maybe I think it's the right time.
Okay.
So it's interesting how she has a pack of
Yeah.
cards, and let's see what
So this
comes
is
up for
like
me.
the spirit animal
Okay.
pocket oracle.
Mm-hmm.
So I generally pull out cards, and this is very interesting. That after I have sessions with people who come for healing, and we've done a complete session of one and a half hours, and then I'm like, okay, do you want me to pull out a card? And they'll be like, yeah, go for it. And every time you pull out a card, it will somehow match the synergy of what we've spoken.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I think that kind of, and they'll be like, oh wow, it just it's like reassuring that the message or the
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever the change that you think you're asking for is on its way, or what you're expecting is on its way,
Got
or
it.
what you're
Got it.
supposed to do is what it's supposed to be done. Okay, you
Yeah.
have a particular question, or am I just supposed to pull out a card?
Yeah, for sure. I think because though I think the previous card that we pulled indicated that I need to ask that question. So, I think life now is calling for a bigger transformation. Like, is saying that Hamza, like, you need to play bigger, you need to break through the ceiling, right? Because I always believe that I have this big fear in my heart that scaling and growing means sacrificing on who you truly are and your authenticity and being honest to the work you do always. That's the first thing that comes up. So maybe I'm looking for an answer as to whether actually now is the time to make that leap, invest in yourself, make that big transformation, go international possibly. So I think that's what's at the core of it. And I think I'll look for an answer around that.
Okay. Okay, let's see what shows up. So these are just guidance.
Yeah. Always.
All right.
Ooh. We spoke about the bee. Bee spirit. Sweet results await. Wow. And that's 7. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's B, and I'm Shamanic Wanderer Bee.
Yes. Yes. See, you were right about right stuff popping up.
I told you.
Wow, wow. Lovely, lovely. What do you think that means for
So it means that yes, put in the work that you have to, go for it. Sweet results await. I mean,
of course, directly.
directly. You asked a question and you got the
Yeah.
response.
Yeah, yeah. But being the bee, and as you mentioned earlier, does that also mean collaboration?
It means collaboration. It means delegation. Do you
Okay.
delegate?
Wow, I was just gonna have a conversation with like someone I need to hire today. Crazy.
Yeah. So
That's
delegation,
mad.
because I think that's also one of the things that most of us fear, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Okay, great. I want you to use this opportunity, Barkha, to really talk about and invite people in to work with you. Some of the people who are stuck, I want you to maybe just talk about what it could look like, make them visualize working with you. What are the practices they could be involved with? What would their calling be? And how you can kind of just help them. So, whatever you feel like is your calling right now.
So I think my biggest ask is generally that people should choose ease. Okay, I feel that whoever feels that they have to live life stuck in patterns and carrying the weight of whatever happened in the past, and overcoming and not wanting to look at what the blocks are, this is your space, because that is what this has helped me. I have transformed completely. I mean, I shouldn't be saying that myself too, but yeah, it has.
Can you go deeper into that? Like, in what kind of way transformation? Like, how have you seen that for yourself?
In a lot of ways, Amza. So I used to be this person who couldn't say no. I used to be this person who had to people please, and it wouldn't make sense because wherever I was working, I was always working in a place of authority. I had a lot of power, so to speak. I had a lot of responsibility, but I couldn't say no. I just couldn't say no. And that was one of my biggest problems, because I wouldn't say no. I would end up doing things I didn't want to. And then the other person was already the problem in my life, and I was always a victim. I loved my stories of being a victim. Oh, they're so comforting.
Yeah.
Trust me, they are. Right? But to break that pattern, to be able to see that every time I had a choice, but I didn't make use of it because I feared it was the same thing, right? Like I was telling you that a 35-year-old person saying, I can't say no. It was my story, actually. I couldn't say it. But when I started doing a lot of inner child healing work and I started reparenting myself, I realized that it's not that difficult, actually. And people don't abandon you because you say no. That is a fear that I was living with, that if I say no, people are going to abandon me. I had to be good in everybody's books. Even though I wasn't, in the sense my role demanded that I had this strict persona and I had to do things. But I did it because that is what professionalism demanded. But at the same time, because there's also this thing of doing right. Na? Too much
Yeah,
rightness
yeah.
in life is not good for you. So you have to let it go sometimes. And then you reach a stage and you realize that it's okay. You have to start choosing what is best for you. And sitting with that discomfort.
Yeah. And how's it like being a mom and a shamanic practitioner at the same time? How did these two come together?
So I have two daughters, and both my children have had different versions of mama. I've not been the same mother to both of them. When my older one was growing up, I had a lot of rigid ideas about what parenting was and how it should be and how she should be brought up. And so she has her reasons to be angry with me. The younger one was absolutely opposite. I was like, okay, let's just pull her out of school.
Oh.
And that's what I did. I went ahead and homeschooled her. And she lives life very differently. And yeah, so when I go back and I look at the older one, the only thing I always tell her is, I'm sorry, if you have it in you to forgive me, please forgive me. Because I did whatever I thought was the best. When I know better, I do better. And
Yeah.
I think that's how life progresses, right? When you know better, you do better.
Wow.
So that's been the story with both my kids. My younger one is also a shamanic healer. She's all of 16, but she's learned shamanism, is very aware of what energy work is. And that's her journey. And I feel that as parents, when children come to us, it's not for us to decide what they have to do in life. You know, like if you look at some of the therapists and you look at some of people who worked earlier, they always say that we are victims of victims. Like our parents were victims, we are victims of them. And then if this doesn't stop with us, our children just carry forth that legacy. So giving children that freedom to be who they are, it sounds very easy and it sounds very like cliched, but it's very difficult. When I chose homeschooling for my daughter, I went and asked that lady who was talking about it, and I said, how difficult is it going to be for her? Because, everybody, she's going to look at everybody around having fun and going to school. She said, it's not about her. It's about you. How cool are you going to be waking up every morning and looking at, people showcasing medals their children have won and, acing competitions, and here your child is playing with cats. So, like, okay.
Yeah.
But so that journey was about self. It was not about the child.
Beautiful. And maybe like a message that you want to give everyone listening to this podcast about life, or maybe like your biggest learning in life that people can take away from this episode.
I think a couple of things. One is, which I always say, self-love is very important. Prioritize it. Self-love is not selfish. It is self-ishq. It's very important. And this is something that I read a few days ago. It's in Hindi, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Please.
खुद से भाग के कहाँ जाओगे? खुद ही सवाल हो और खुद ही जवाब हो. So if you're going to try to outrun and you're going to continue to keep yourself caught up in distractions and work and responsibilities and relationships, all of that is there. It's true. You have to look at it, but that cannot be the escape. You have to sit with the discomfort. You have to look at it and you have to allow it to become your power.
Wow. Yeah, I guess the inner dialogue is like the most important, the
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I want to do a little plug in here, maybe a selfish plug in. I just want to ask you, like, with how much of a time that we have worked, and this is just for other healers because there are so many people who are in our community, and I feel like uh, the only reason that they're holding themselves back is not only the money investment, it's just them playing small, right? And I want this to be like an invitation to more people to come and work with me and just for everyone to grow together. So I just want to ask you, like, couple of how many weeks that we have worked together. I just want to you to share about how it's helped you, what mainly has come from it, honestly. What were you thinking before and how that's changed now, and if that's impacted your business already. Yeah.
So, yeah, couple of things that have helped me is, your guidance in creating the offer. I think that was very, very crucial for me. It also helped me uh, think bigger because I do have a lot of ideas. I love kind
Yeah.
of getting involved in
Yes.
doing multiple things. So your strategy that let's just focus on this and put this out was very helpful. Also, when you spoke about processes like streamlining processes, so there's a SOP in place, and it's just like okay, this is how it works. Somewhere I've kind of I don't want to get involved in that, but then as I started doing it, I realized that it was very beneficial.
Okay.
Like I had been struggling with getting my website in place, but after we got talking, I just energetically found the right kind of people to do my website. It's been done, it looks fabulous.
Lovely.
And it gives me a lot of assurance that, okay, I'm on the right path. And I think when you come in with your two bits of saying that, okay, just go for it, just take that
Yeah, I think
leap.
that's the most
Yeah,
important.
just
Yeah.
go for it. Worst come worst, what is going to happen? I mean, you are where you
Yeah.
are, you're going to stay there. Usse zyada kya hi ho jayega?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is, I think that's been very, very helpful. And of course, the way you help us form the deck and your feedback, those are very crucial pointers. Because sometimes, you just need that one person who believes in you.
Correct. Yeah. That's all that you need. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. It means so much to me, especially on a podcast like this. Great. Actually, that's the end of this podcast. Lovely, lovely episode. So, like, the flow is absolutely amazing. I think we've learned so much in such a short amount of time. And this makes me even more interested in pursuing this journey, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to go back home on my way back, listen to a podcast in the car on the same topic. So yeah, usually like at the end of every podcast, last time I spoke about like the spirit and how you should just go behind whatever you want. This time the calling is around being honest with yourself, and I just wanted to put this out there. Maybe you can also share more about what you feel on this topic. Um, what I've come to realize is in my business, the more and more um, open and honest I can be with my clients, because I've never been someone who's, I think, like a lot of healers ourselves, we try not to push people to work with us, or we're very like, hey, this is what you want from your life, come for it. And I've always operated on that. Sometimes always confused whether I can build a business being that person. But I've always realized like being honest, and the more and more I talk about it to myself, the right aligned people come in, and I'm more happy doing that rather than just working with everybody and anybody. So that's like just a call out to everyone here that just be honest with your work and do exactly what you say, keep your commitments, and the best stuff manifests. Yeah. So that's my share. Do you want to say something about it?
I think I'm just going to agree to it, second that completely, because I come from the school of thought that if it doesn't align with your energy, it's not meant for you.
Yeah.
However exciting it may seem, however lucrative it may seem, if it doesn't align with your energy, just don't engage with it, because this is the universe testing you.
Yeah.
I always feel that it's like, let me just throw this and see, does she take it? And if she doesn't, then you've passed the test.
Absolutely. So this is the final call out to everyone. Once again, thank you to JC Creator Studio for having us and always supporting us in growing a podcast, and asking everyone else who wants to do a podcast to come here and shoot with them. For Barkha, I'm going to mention her details below. If you kind of want to go on this journey of healing yourself with her, you can always get in touch with her. She's an amazing, amazing facilitator. In just like 1 or 2 sessions that we've done, I understand the power that she brings. So yeah, and for me, you can always get in touch on Instagram or through email and just talk about your journey, and I can always guide you, and then we can consider to work together. Yeah, so all the best and see you in the next episode.